you hear about something and then you start thinking about it and then you just like you grab onto it like that's the next thing. This is going to be it for me, right? And that's what I did. I kept talking to my husband. I'm like, I need to do this. I feel like God is leading me to do this. And I did. I thought on it, I prayed on it, and I felt like, and they were a Christian center, a Christian treatment center. And I thought this aligns, this feels right.
Welcome to the journey. This is Julieann Hartman, and I have Stacey Dicks with me today, and we are talking about her, oh my gosh, her journey with fibromyalgia, which I know very well, but I'm not friends with anymore. And so, if you want to go back and listen to, episode 1 and 2, that brings us to the day right now, which is now we're getting into some real deep stuff, then please go back and watch because it all is a part of her story. So Stacey, you want to pick it up from there, from you becoming a fitness instructor and working out 1 hour a day and then laying on your couch probably the rest of the day.
Yeah. And probably not even working out, maybe even just like training somebody, right? Standing there, telling them what to do, and maybe teaching a short class a couple times a week, like abs, nothing too strenuous. But yeah, it was a nice outlet. And at this point in my story, then we moved to Ventura, California with my husband's military assignment in the Navy. Beautiful place. I feel like I probably wasn't too far from where you are because aren't you?
No, I was just gonna say, coming from, let's say, LAX, you had to pass me to get to Ventura.
Yeah. And I drove up to see a number of doctors in LA, as you can
Oh,
imagine, living in
then I'm
Ventura.
sure we I'm sure we saw some of the same ones.
Probably, probably. So we're in Ventura. I'm working part time. I think I actually worked at the Navy gym, a military gym, maybe a couple personal training clients, something just to kind of keep me a little part time work. And of course, the rest of the time, I'm focusing on trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with my body and so many symptoms that are starting to keep piling on. So, not long after we got to Ventura, maybe 6, 7, 8 months, my husband got word that he was going to get deployed. So he got deployed to Africa. So he left. We decided that we would need to, the best thing for me was to pack me up, pack all of our stuff up, and that I would go stay with my parents for the year that he was in Africa. It was a solo assignment. I couldn't go, and knowing where he was going didn't sound like it was a great assignment to tag along, even if I could. So, as you can imagine, being apart for a year, it's incredibly emotionally difficult. I knew that was part of the gig of being a Navy wife, a military wife. That's the way it goes. But I knew nobody in California. We didn't have family. I didn't have any support, and I was sick. So we packed me up. We got out of our rental and took me over to Charlotte. My parents live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then my husband went off to his deployment to Africa.
Now, what year was
So
this?
2011 to 2012. It was
Oh,
like,
wow. See, that was my time that I was sick. So I'm sure we probably was sitting in maybe the same lobbies of some of the time.
maybe even at the same time, and we didn't know each other then.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a neuropathic, I guess that's how you say it,
Hmm.
doctor in Ventura that I would go to.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, off camera, we can talk about names.
Yeah, we maybe love some of the same in our
It
books.
didn't help me either, but I went to him for a while. Okay, so yeah, now your husband going to Africa, it's not like you can just pick up the phone and call. Like, oh my gosh, that had to be really hard on you.
That was really hard. And then, so I'm thinking 2011 to 2012, so it's a good 13 years ago. Even technology then, of course, not what it is now, but he was able to once in a while get on like a, trying to remember if they had Zoom back then. I'm thinking so. We would try to do camera calls once in a while on the computer, but and he could call once in a while, but he could email. So we tried to email back and forth just to stay in touch that way. Hard though, like you said, just hard thinking, oh my gosh, I'm like not going to see my husband for a year, except he did get to come home. So he left around August or September. We did get to meet in Paris. We did a little really quick mini vacation for like 3 days or something, where I flew to meet him. We met in Paris for 3 or 4 days. That was a quick getaway for him. And then we both went back. He went back to Africa. I went back to Charlotte. And then I think closer to the end of his year, he got like a week reprieve and came home, and we went and had like a vacation house in the mountains just to go spend time together and reconnect. And I think we went to Boone, North Carolina for a week. So it was hard, but we got through it. And it's interesting, like you can imagine, okay, now I'm fully an adult, I'm married, and I'm living with my parents again. It seemed to be the best scenario. They, of course, welcomed me. They had room for me. Their entire upstairs is like a loft with its private bathroom, bedroom. So it worked out great. Took my dog with me, of course. Um, but you can also imagine the readjustment of, okay, I'm how old now? Close to 40, living with my parents again. And they live in a retirement community, super active, lots of activities, but it's a different pace, right? You go from living in your house with your husband, and then all of a sudden you're back. Oh, I'm in my parents' house for the next year. I'm grateful that they were open to it, that they could be a support for me while I still had all these symptoms I was dealing with. And I was up and down with symptoms during that time as well. And I got a job as a personal trainer in the community they lived in. And I would personal train some elderly folks out of their gym. So I found purpose in that. I got to connect with people. Some of their friends became my friends, not the same age range, but that's okay. Like it was connection, it was some bonding, right? And I got to help people because I loved fitness and helping, especially that population, helping them with balance and things that were so important for that age range to um, stay stay up with and stay strong with. So I found purpose through that. And I also remember days where I would just be in tears with my parents, like, I can't do this. Will you please pray with me? Sit on the couch and pray with me. And I'm just glad that support was there right in the same house. Husband was gone. So I was fortunate for that. Um, so got through that year without my hubby, but he came back and we went back to Ventura to finish up that assignment after he came back from deployment. Then we went back to Ventura for like another year. I saw some more doctors in LA and around, more of the same stuff. Julieann, let's do more blood work. Let's test you for this. So have you had this test? Oh, well, you need it if you haven't had it. Um, and then we finally left California and moved to Washington State, this time to Lake Stevens, to a different area. And at this time, more diagnoses were just piling on. I was diagnosed with candida, was diagnosed with deficiencies like B12 deficiencies, folate deficiencies. I was told I had MTHFR mutation. And that was a whole rabbit hole. I don't know if you've heard of that. All the supplements and diet for that, and it did nothing. But I was so convinced it was the answer. I was like, this is it. This is this is gonna be the thing. And I don't know about you, if you mentioned this, I did so many diets over the years. No sugar, no gluten, no dairy, like no grains. I mean, pretty soon it was like no taste, no nothing. I was already thin, right? And then all these special diets, I felt like my calories were getting cut and it was just miserable. Had coffee taken away, like anything I did enjoy, then I wasn't allowed to have anymore. It's really sad.
Yeah. I mean, you just, again, it's like a, I don't know. It's like they put out like a sheet of paper that tells you, everybody gets the same one, no matter what the diet, no matter what your symptoms are. I,
Yeah.
that's why I just really have a problem with just putting a blanket over stuff and saying, oh, it's, I always say this, it was like, there was like a bucket and it just had fibromyalgia. And what I can't diagnose you on, we'll just throw it in the fibromyalgia bucket.
Yeah. That was
And I
maybe
think that's the lime. I think that's the lime bucket now.
yeah. Yeah, it's the bucket disease condition du jour, right?
Yeah.
It's the label that's going around today that everyone's oh, and I went through that too. But about to get to that. So yeah, just more testing, no more answers, more frustration, but like you, like just persistent. Like, I'm not going to live my life like this. God didn't make me to live like this. I don't believe I'm supposed to manage it. I don't believe, like, oh, I just got a poor deal in life. Too bad. You just have to deal with it. No. And that's what kept driving me. I'm not going to just keep managing this and dealing with it. There's an answer out there. So, at this point, my husband retired from the Navy after 21 years, retired out in Washington, and then, of course, went to get a civilian job. And that took us to Mississippi, yet another state, another new state. And I'm sure you heard this in your doctor's visits. One of the doctor's visits there were, will you have elevated antibodies linked to Epstein-Barr virus reactivation? So that's what's going on with you. I'm like, oh, that's what's been going on for 10 years. Like, I don't think so. But that was one of the many things, more allergy, thyroid testing, and just to no avail. And at this point, as you can imagine, with symptoms piling on, labels piling on, like I was beside myself. I was hopeless. I felt helpless. And I connected with an online Christian friend, and she told me about a center in Texas. Here we go again. That sounded so promising.
Oh my gosh, what's the name of it? Do you
O-
remember?
Oasis.
Oh, no. I
Oh,
cannot believe that you don't. Well, again, we can talk off camera with some of this because the one that I went to in Texas was very well known, but it wasn't Oasis.
okay. Now I'm curious. Yeah, I do want to talk to you. And my friend had many symptoms like I did. And she was like currently getting treated there and was getting better and better when I talked to her on the phone, and we had all these conversations. And so, of course, I prayed about it. I felt like God was leading me to consider that. Now, here I am living in Mississippi. I wasn't living in Texas then. Living in Mississippi was a 12-hour drive over there. My husband and I go on Memorial Day and we drive over to meet her and her husband and talk to them face to face over lunch and find out, tell me about this center. What's it done for you? Because she had so many of the same symptoms. And it just sounded like the answer. And it's in San Antonio. Not sure where the center is that you were talking about. So we
Yeah,
went back.
it was in Richardson.
Okay. Definitely different.
Yeah.
back home. My husband and I drove back and we talked about it. And of course, I don't know if this happened to you, like you hear about something and then you start thinking about it and then you just like you grab onto it like that's the next thing. This is going to be it for me, right? And that's what I did. I kept talking to my husband. I'm like, I need to do this. I feel like God is leading me to do this. And I did. I thought on it, I prayed on it, and I felt like, and they were a Christian center, a Christian treatment center. And I thought this aligns, this feels right. So Julianne, 12 hours away, I packed up my stuff. Well, my husband packed me up and moved away from my home in Mississippi, away from my dogs. And we took me over to San Antonio. We had a trailer at the time. So we put me in a trailer, like a toy hauler trailer. And that's where I started living. But then we moved me to an apartment because a trailer is really small. And here I am alone in this apartment we're paying for, now utilities, now groceries for me. And I'm driving over to the center. I think it was maybe 10, 15 minutes from my apartment every day doing colonics, enemas for 7 months and spent thousands in dollars in supplements, not to mention the apartment rent, everything I needed to do to live there on my own, away from
Stacey, this is just terrible.
it.
I,
I can't even believe it's part of my story because it
for
didn't.
7 months? My God. See, that's what's so crazy. That you were like completely cleansed of anything
You would,
this way
right,
and the other way. Right?
flushed clean, right?
Well,
And
yeah, there was no chance that parasites and all that other stuff could live, right?
but their theory, the center's theory is we are going to flush all of the pathogens out of you, anything that could possibly be keeping you sick, and you're going to be flushed clean and you're going to be better, along with all of the supplements help to support your immune system and support and get all the vitamins you need and help you detox and all the things that we try.
Yeah.
More, not to mention hair analysis for heavy
Oh,
metal
I get it
testing,
too.
where I came back so high, right? Oh, it must be the mercury. No. So we kept flushing me and flushing me. And can I tell you, that's not a comfortable thing to be doing day in and day out. Your tummy doesn't feel great. Then I'm juicing. I'm on this stupid special diet. I say stupid, but I couldn't have coffee, couldn't have any caffeine. So anything that I did enjoy stripped away, right? I think it was gluten free, all of the special dietary things. So not to mention I'm miserable because I miss my husband, my support, my best friend, my dogs. We actually brought our dog over. One of our dogs we had lost 6 months prior. So we brought her over with me to keep me comfort and to support me. And then she got sick while I was there. I had to drive her back home the 12 hours. She got cancer. So she couldn't even be with me while I was going through all that. And then we lost her because she had to be at home near my husband to go to the vet and get treatment. I mean, it's like too much all at once. So sad. But I think even sadder is coming home 7 months later and your husband's like, you don't seem any better. And I'm like, I'm
Ah,
not.
I've heard those exact words.
Yeah. And we're how much more poor? Not that, yes, we could make it work. Wasn't like I was living in a palace when I was over in this apartment. We made it work, but we could make those sacrifices. But my husband told me later, and we talked about it in depth. He's like, it wasn't all the financial stuff that sucked so much. It was being apart and the emotional strain it had on us and just not being together when you need it the most. So
Absolutely.
something else I tried and came home in the same shape. And then,
When did things start changing for you?
well, right after I got home from that is when I went into spiraled down to the very bottom. And I was in the worst state. And I can share a little bit of that. Um, I feel like my story's gone on already, but
No, we want to hear all of it.
okay. We moved to Alabama right after I came back from that summer, Mississippi. And I do not have good memories of Alabama because that's what I call my rock bottom, just the pit. Everything opened up and I fell deep down into the very bottom. The good thing is that's where I climbed up from. But in 2018 now, we're in Alabama. And at the time, I had breast implants and I had gotten them like 8 years prior. Now, when I got them, I was already sick. So I knew they weren't making me sick, but I had come to the conclusion that I didn't want them in my body anymore because they were a foreign thing. And I was worried that they were keeping me sick, right? That they were contributing to my health load. And I just wanted to unload myself of anything that I could. So here came this other expensive procedure and surgery, but I was bent on I have to get these out. This has to happen. And I'm researching breast implant illness and all the things that you hear. And so I just was kind of obsessive about it. And um, in September, I got them out. This is 2018. Not an easy surgery, but I knew that emotionally it would help me feel like I was in a better place to handle the rest of my journey. And my mom came to help take care of me so my husband could work. I mean, when you have that surgery or not, you can't move very easily. Um, and unfortunately, 4 days later, I had to have a second emergency surgery because from that first surgery, I had developed severe hemorrhoids so bad. My mom took me to the doctor, and the doctor said, "You need to go into surgery tomorrow morning." And this was 4 days after the breast explant procedure. And I just cried and cried on the table. I'm like, I can't go through surgery again. I just went through it 4 days ago. And he's like, any doctor, oh, you're fine. Your body's fine. It'll bounce back. It's no big deal. Like it's people go under anesthesia all the time. Like you'll be fine. It's not a problem. And I'm just crying and thinking like I physically can't do this because I was just too weak, had too many symptoms. I just thought I couldn't do it, but I had to do it because it had to be done. And I will tell you that that's a worse surgery than the breast explant surgery. Um, thank God my mom was there for like a week and a half to just help me get through what I needed to do so my husband could work and keep making money for us. And so my mom eventually left to go live her life, right? And she's like, you can do this. You'll get stronger. Just keep focusing on God. I remember just sitting in my chair in our family room. My husband's at work. And I'm just like, the Bible's right there. And I'm just reading the Bible. And I'm like crying out to God, like, what do you want me to do? I'm at the rock bottom and I don't know what to do. And I had more symptoms coming. And by now, of course, the anxiety, like I'm never going to get out of it. And that fuels symptoms. And so I remember not too long after that, it was 4 a.m. It's in the middle of the night. And I go in to wake up my husband. I think I was in a different room because I was having trouble sleeping. And I'm crying. And I'm like, I got to call my mom. I'm like, I need her to come be with me. I can't lay down. I can't do anything without so much pain. And he's like, I don't know what to do with you. So we called my mom at like 4 a.m. She's in Charlotte and she drove all day and got there that night. And my mom and my husband are like trying to figure out what to do with me. Like I'm this basket case emotionally, physically, in every way. And they don't know what to do with me. And I don't know how to help myself. And so we decided it was probably best for me to go back to my parents to Charlotte, where lots of medical care was. So I could be seen by lots of doctors to try to figure out what was going on with me. And I remember saying to my mom and to Russ one night while we're trying to figure out what to do with me, I was like, please don't put me in some center. Please don't just admit me to some center and leave me there because I have so many symptoms. I know this is real and I'm not making it up. And they're like, we won't. We know this is real for you. We just need to figure out how to help you. And so I went to Charlotte to live with my parents so they could drive me to a bunch of specialists and figure it out. That was the next step. So by now I've had so many symptoms and I don't even know if you want me to share what they are.
Okay, well, we're out of time again. So this is like really awful. There's no other word for it, but just, man, this is the torment that people go through sometimes. And oh my gosh, Stacey, I'm so sorry that you had to deal with this. But we're going to find out on the next episode how things turned around. So thank you so much for watching, and just, share these videos because this is just Stacey's story. There's many other stories that are just the same, sound the same, and maybe even worse. So we love you so much, and we thank you all for watching and sharing and just being a part of Healing Journeys today. And we'll see you